How's it going, folks? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. Today I want to have a look at this 1997 video game buyer's guide. This was released by the people at EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly. And when this was released, it was a really interesting time when the Sega Saturn, the PlayStation 1, and the Nintendo 64 were all out together, competing, battling one another for supremacy. So this was a magazine that was released every year to show you basically the best of the best that had gone on that year. The good, the bad, the silly. Virtual Fighter, kids, that one, it didn't do so well. I remember Virtual Fighter was a big deal back in the day. We were all like, oh my goodness, it's so real looking and all that stuff. Capcom wins it with Game Company with the most promise. Shadows of the Empire was really good. I've never seen another game that had the same kind of analog feel as Shadows of the Empire, the first level where you take down an AT-AT. So at about this point in time, the Atari Jaguar had finally just died, and the 3DO, unbelievably expensive system was almost on its way out. PlayStation at the time was still experiencing problems where there were a lot of people who had malfunctioning systems due to a simple screw on the inside being plastic. Alright, so follow me here. There's a screw that makes the eye come up and down, the laser come up and down, and if that thing was plastic, this thing would get really warm over long periods of time, the screw would wear out and the eye wouldn't work. And what you had to do is you had to put the system on its side. That was one way to get it to work again. Sega wasn't dead yet at this point. They hadn't realized, but I think a lot of us could hear the death gurgle. This is a weird ad that always caught my eye. This guy looks like he's claymation. This does not look like a shot of an actual game from the time. You guys remember the Crash Bandicoot commercial where he literally goes up to the Nintendo office with TVs in the back of his truck and calls out Mario. 26 have been given life and 26 will take it away. So what an interesting time. We got a magazine that actually has Sega Genesis in it, right next to reviews of Nintendo 64. So yeah, when this was released, the Nintendo 64 was still a giant thing. Everyone was all about it. It was unbelievably expensive and unbelievably difficult to get your hands on. It released, there was only 2 games in the US, but 3 games released in Japan. Blast Corps was the first game that was actually released after a release date. Of course, here we got the PlayStation. While it was a slightly older system, I preferred it to the Nintendo 64. But what I preferred more than the PlayStation was the Sega Saturn, because it just had more RPGs, man. Speaking of which, just had more RPGs like Albert Odyssey, Magic Knight Rare, Dragon Force. Dragon Force 2 should have come out in North America, but Sega had to go and run its mouth and piss off working design, and I've never forgiven them for it. But seriously, the Sega Saturn was so much better because you had story, you had drama, and in Nintendo 64, there's no blood. People bled light. I'm pretty sure when you kill Ganon in Zelda, he bleeds light. Drama, blood, oh, that's what I'm talking about. Give me Sega Saturn any day. So actually, I took my Nintendo 64 in to get Sega Saturn games, and they wanted my parents to come in and say, are you sure about this? Because most people would have said it was crazy at the time. So yeah, check it out. We got a Virtual Boy here, the Game Gear, the Game Boy Pocket, and the Nomad. It's amazing how many systems we got crossing over here. I was like, nobody was really interested in this stuff so much about this time, it seems. The Super Nintendo still going strong. The Sega Genesis, I've never heard of anyone looking for a Sega Genesis. Like, the Sega Genesis came out a little bit before the Super Nintendo, but the Super Nintendo had it unlocked. The Sega Genesis just couldn't compete. Sega had the drama, the blood, the gore, but that's about all that they had. Nights into Dreams. Oh, it just beats still in my heart. Hey, yeah, here we got the the 3DO, the Neo Geo. Rest in peace at the bottom. Sega CD, 32X, Game Boy, and Jaguar. You get all kinds of freaking controllers, but the prices were through the roof for all this stuff, so I don't know about you guys, but I generally never ended up getting them. So this is the part of the magazine where it kind of gets interesting. It lists everything, every game that they've reviewed all year round, and yeah, you get an idea. Now, this magazine was a big deal before the internet was out. These days you can get on the internet, you can find all this information, all the cheat codes and all that fun stuff. But before the internet was easy enough. Around the time there was dial-up was the big deal. This is the only way that you could get your information. Now, oh man, I love this stuff. The review crew. You got Sushi X here. Everyone remembers Sushi X. You got all kinds of reviewers here. I used to know all of these guys by their names. Sushi X is the only one that I remember. You never knew who he was, but actually it was one of the other editors rotating. All of the editors had favorite types of games, their favorite genre of games, and Sushi X was always all about the Street Fighter, Sega CD, Sega Genesis, 3DO, Sega 32X. Man, Sega CD 32X was basically what ended up killing the Sega Genesis entire franchise almost. Sega CD was released before it really should have been, and instead of having good graphics, it basically just took really bad video graphics, and that's it. It was just video graphics that moved back and forth. 3DO, this thing was unbelievably expensive. Only a few people ended up getting it because, once again, the expense was through the roof. And the 32X was only released in North America. This was one of the coffins in the grave of Sega, because Sega wanted a 32-bit system, and they thought they'd get on it before Japan did. Japan was not on board with the idea. I think originally they were calling it the Sega Jupiter or something like that. But yeah, Sega Saturn came out, and I frickin' loved it. Frickin' loved it. CDI. I keep forgetting that thing even existed. Virtual Boy. Virtual headaches. Actually, more like real headaches. Crash Bandicoot. Back in the day, everyone thought Crash Bandicoot was going to be the mascot for Mario. Now, it's interesting that they put all this information in about Crash Bandicoot. It must have been just filler stuff. Of course, they always had big prizes that you could get into, big events. Die Hard, Mario RPG walkthrough. So this kind of stuff right here, this is definitely just filler. Oh, Super Mario 64. Back in the day, you could have a look around. This is one of the first 3D games that you could ever actually fully immerse yourself in and go wherever you wanted. It was a super big deal. And here we have a list of the special moves for Tekken. Once again, all just filler. Street Fighter Alpha 2, one of the biggest games back then. I had it for Nintendo, or Super Nintendo. And that brings us to about the end. I just want to do a topical little look at this. Nights into Dreams, this one. There was just something super special about Nights into Dreams. It was ugly, and it was playable, and it was fun all at the same time. What can I say? Rayman, still kicking around. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Well, if you like that, hit the like. I like this type of stuff, hit the subscribe. I got some more, man, back in the day before the internet. I absolutely love this stuff. This is tops. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one. Catch you later. Take care of each other, will you?